So this comes out, and then Remy accuses you of cheating with Claressa Shields, and she had posted some text messages and so forth as proof. When did you and Claressa actually meet?
Yeah, me and Claressa met July 2024, Vlad.
Okay.
So I want you to answer that for yourself.
All right, so today we're diving straight into Vlad TV. And yeah, you already know this is about to get interesting. Today, we're talking Claressa Shields. And trust me, it gets messy. And of course, we've got to bring up Papoose because part 10 of the interview just dropped. And you already know Vlad wants y'all to become members and pay to watch that full 2-hour and 10-minute sit-down behind a paywall. But here's my thing. If they're going to drop the clips anyway, why not just sit back and catch them for free? You feel me? Right. Now don't think I forgot about the earlier part, y'all. We're already on part 10 at this point. There's still a piece I owe you, and trust me, I didn't forget. But I had to react to this one because something about it feels off. I'm telling you right now, some real foolishness is about to go down, and I couldn't pass up the chance to call it out. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it.
So this comes out, and then Remy accuses you of cheating with Claressa Shields, and she had posted some text messages and so forth as proof. When did you and Claressa actually meet?
Yeah, me and Claressa met July 2024, Vlad.
Okay.
So I want you to answer that for yourself, you know? You just talked about a chain of events that took place, right? But me and Claressa met July 2024. And you know what's very interesting for Vlad TV, man? I'll say this for Vlad TV right now. Which is very interesting about the fact that me and Claressa met July 2024 is we met at the Shakur Stevenson fight in New Jersey, right? But the next day after we met, we talked through the DM, and she said, hey, great, it was great meeting you, Papoose. But you know, when you talk through a DM, what does it have on it, Vlad?
Emojis?
No.
I don't know.
No. On a DM, because all of this stuff is documented on social media. So when things are documented, what do they have? The time?
Timestamps.
Timestamp in the day.
Right.
So when me and Claressa met July 2024, you know, unfortunately, you know, like I said, nothing bad to say about her. You know what I mean? I wish her the best. But there are people on social media who push these false narratives about, oh, they've been together and this and that. There's a timestamp, guys, and it's dated and documented of when we first met.
All right, so let's do a quick recap because this part right here, you really need to pay attention. There were 2 screenshots that came out in that first segment, and I want to break them down because I'm not about to assume everybody remembers what actually went down. So boom, when Remy Ma exposed Papoose and Claressa Shields, this was one of the key text threads floating around online. And yeah, it raised some eyebrows. In these messages, Papoose is basically responding to Claressa saying, but that's okay, we're human. Nobody can report every single move they make, trying to play it off like it's normal behavior. Then Claressa comes back and applies pressure, telling him straight up to take accountability because he's the married one, and if he can't be on the phone with her or see her in person, the least he could do was communicate and let her know he made it home safe or fell asleep somewhere. After that, Papoose tries to clean it up by saying he's going to a Christmas party after the office because the CEO invited him the week before. Like, okay, but why she ain't know that already? Then Claressa switches it up and says, Pap, I don't care, you don't have to tell me nothing. Which, let's be real, sounds a little too convenient. And then here comes Remy Ma, jumping in and completely blowing it up, saying Papoose fell asleep on the phone with Claressa while laying in her house, refusing to leave, and Claressa hung up as soon as she heard her voice. Yeah, Messy doesn't even begin to cover it. Remy keeps going, basically saying she's spilling everything now, and even throws in that Claressa isn't the only one, referencing those allegations from Tasha K about another woman involved, which just adds more fuel to the fire. Now, on the flip side, we've got the second screenshot, which is the so-called proof Papoose gave to DJ Vlad. And listen, I'm not buying it at all. That screenshot shows Papoose mentioning Claressa back on October 15, 2022, and also includes July 7, 2024 as the alleged date they first met at the Shakur Stevenson fight, which happened the day before on July 6th. But something about that timeline just isn't adding up, because let's not forget, Claressa herself said in an interview that Papoose had been in her DMs sending videos as far back as 2020. So now the question is, what platform was that on? Was it Instagram, Twitter, or X, Facebook? Like, where exactly was all this happening? I'm telling you right now, I'm not buying his narrative, but I do see the strategy because Papoose is clearly trying to frame this in a way that makes him and Claressa look innocent, when in reality, if you're still married to Remy Ma, it's cheating, period. No matter how you try to spin it, he's still a married man, and Claressa falls right into that side position until papers are signed, and there's just no way around that. So at the end of the day, this receipt he's holding onto feels more like a calculated move to say he didn't cheat first. But honestly, it looks planned, like they were preparing for this to come out. And here's the twist. It feels like they expected Remy Ma to get exposed first so they could control the narrative, but she flipped the script and forced everything out early, and that right there changed the whole rollout. So yeah, let's keep going because it only gets crazier from here.
But for Vlad TV, I share that. I share that with your audience.
There you go.
So all of the, everybody out there with your fake stories, and because Vlad, there are people who are making a living off of this story, man. Like they got entire YouTube pages. They fabricate so many stories. They take AI images. They put people in the hospital. They put people in altercations that never took place. But a very strong part of their false lying narratives is, oh, him and Claressa been together this long. Not knowing it's documented and dated when we met. Because we spoke and we talked about our encounter, which was, hey, it was great meeting you. You know what I'm saying? So that's neither here nor there, but one thing I'm not into is the business of proving myself to people. You know what I'm saying? I know you for a long time. We doing the interview. Cool. You're not going to find much content of me even talking about this shit in detail.
Well, you guys met. Did you instantly hit it off or did it take a little while?
Yeah, well, when I met her at the Shakur fight in Jersey, because everybody know I've been a big fan of boxing. I've been at all of the fights. I knew these fighters when they were young. Shout out to Devin Haney. Shout out to Bud Crawford. Pardon me. I've been to his fights.
All right, let's play a little game real quick, because this right here, yeah, it's about to get real interesting. Because 9 times out of 10, let's be honest, a woman is not the one cheating first, and we need to go ahead and clear that up. Remy Ma already put it out there that Papoose was stepping out on her while she was locked up, so this isn't coming out of nowhere. That whole hold her down narrative people love to praise really just meant he was visiting her and handling her royalty checks. But that's not the full story, because while doing all that, he was allegedly using that same money to buy properties Remy knew nothing about, and was also messing around with his baby mamas on the side. So when Remy got out, instead of enjoying Thanksgiving like a normal person, food, family, good vibes, she was out here confronting women and fighting because they were allegedly dealing with her husband behind her back. She even said herself she had to pull up to mother-in-law houses over this, which already tells you how deep it went. And let's not forget that rumored love child situation where a woman went on Tasha K claiming she had a child with Papoose, and then suddenly everything just went quiet. Like, come on now, that doesn't just happen for no reason. So even if this so-called receipt Papoose is holding on to for dear life in that Vlad TV interview is real, it still doesn't change the fact that he cheated first. And let's be real, Remy probably has way more receipts tucked away. And what's really interesting is how Remy said he's been cheating, yet he went from calling her statements false to suddenly saying he has nothing bad to say about her in back-to-back clips. Like, which one is it? So all this talk about YouTubers, AI images, and random narratives, honestly, I don't even know what he's trying to say there. But let's not get distracted, because at the end of the day, this whole situation didn't come from bloggers or the internet. It came straight from his wife, Remy Ma, and that's the part people keep skipping over. And the reason she spoke out is because when everything came out about Easy the block captain, Papoose sat back and played victim like he was blindsided, when according to Remy, they had already been separated and not even intimate since around 2022. Which, if you really think about it, tells me she already knew he did something she couldn't come back from and had mentally moved on way before the public knew. But because he was still holding on to that black love image, he let her take all the heat and even push narratives about her not spending Christmas with a child and instead being with Easy, which just doesn't add up. Make it make sense, seriously. And now suddenly he wants to flip it and act like everything only happened after Remy did her thing, calling people liars and fake pages. But nah, I'm not buying that for a second. I see straight through the manipulation, the wordplay, and the attempts to rewrite the story, and it's not adding up at all. So let's go ahead and keep it moving, because this situation is far from over.
Jack, I walked him to the ring. This is all before I met Claressa. I've been a big boxing fan. I've been a big part of the boxing community. You see me front row seats at all the fights. You know what I'm saying? So when we met, initially I came into the fight and she was already sitting down, and as I was walking to my seat, I turned around. Being a big fan of boxing, I was like, oh shit, that's Claressa Shields. Because I was actually a fan of her, you know, long before we met. When she won one of her fights, which I always do on social media, I put up a video of it on my story. So that also has what on it? It also dates, you know what I'm saying? But I didn't know her. I did that as a fan. So long story short, I'm walking to my seat. Oh shit, that's Claressa Shields. We shake hands. Hey, how are you? Nice to meet you. I'm sitting down, she's sitting not too far from me. So throughout the duration of the fight, you know, we're speaking on the fight and things of that nature. And when we were leaving, she was taking pictures. When I was coming in, I was taking pictures with fans. When we were leaving, she was taking pictures. But I just noticed that some of the people she was taking pictures with and some of the media was like rushing her. So I just was kind of like, yeah, hold on, like one at a time. I'm just helping out a little bit. And long story short, you know, she invited me to her fight. She had a fight coming up. She was like, yo, I want you to attend my fight. And due to that, that's why she had DM'd me the next day. Like, hey, Papoose, great meeting you. I'm going to connect you with my assistant or whatever so you can get the tickets to the fight.
So let me ask y'all this. Why wouldn't Claressa Shields invite both you and your wife to an upcoming fight? Because that part right there isn't adding up. Why wasn't only you getting the invite? And how would she already feel comfortable doing that unless you gave her the impression that you and Remy Ma were not really together? Make it make sense. Seriously. But instead, y'all want to play in people's faces with these timelines and documents, picking and choosing dates that conveniently make everything look clean and like it all happened after Remy Ma and Easy the Black Captain got exposed. But I'm not buying it. Like I said before, most women are not out here cheating first. 9 times out of 10, it's retaliation because they discovered something shady their partner already did. But instead of owning that and being real about what went down, you chose to stay in the house, avoid the divorce, and continue playing both sides. You sat there, stayed in Remy Ma's space, and still entertained other women, and Claressa Shields just so happened to be one of them. Like, what are we really talking about here? And let's talk about the audacity for a second, because this is the same Claressa who was allegedly in Remy Ma's DMs asking for styling advice, acting friendly on the surface while low-key trying to build something with her husband behind the scenes. Because if you're really cool with Remy and reaching out to her like that, why wouldn't inviting her and Papoose together be automatic? Unless you already knew their situation wasn't what it looked like publicly. And that DM suddenly starts to feel less genuine and more like a cover story, doesn't it? But that brings me to the bigger question. What about all the other messages? What about DMs on different platforms, texts, emails? Where's that timeline at? At this point, it feels like we need a full investigation. Pull everything, every account, every number, because what's being presented right now just isn't convincing. And at the end of the day, no matter if this started in 2020, 2022, or 2024, here we are in 2026, and Papoose still hasn't finalized the divorce. So what does that really tell you? So what exactly is this narrative y'all are trying to sell? Because it's not lining up with reality. You can't push a love story while still holding on to your marriage. Make it make sense. Now let's keep going, because this just keeps getting deeper.
To answer your question, it just started out as a friendship, bro. We was just texting as friends, talking back and forth. It was just great conversation. You know, she was telling me that, because everybody know how to rap, right? She was like, yo, I write poetry. I was like, oh, word? And we exchanged poems. I wrote a poem, she wrote one, which was very impressive, by the way. She's a great poet. And, you know, the relationship just grew.
Well, you guys started to go to, I think, like the MTV Music Awards, the red carpet. You guys were seen together and then you guys did the Breakfast Club where you talked about the relationship.
Yeah, Vlad, it was really an organic relationship, man. Like I said, we started out as friends. We were just talking back and forth. I came to her fight and supported her, and we just stayed in contact, and it just grew. But yeah, to answer your question, eventually we did do the Breakfast Club. Actually, I was there to promote my album, and the plan was for her to just chill out in the back, if you look at the video. But throughout the interview, they was like, hey, Claressa, come on up to the mic.
Nah, I'm not buying that this is anything real or organic, not for a second, because something about this feels way too staged. Because every time we see you is only when there's lights, cameras, and action. An interview, a PR moment, or some kind of promo push for music that, let's be honest, nobody is really checking for. Suddenly, you pop up when there's attention to grab, but when it comes to real life, downtime, or anything genuine, you're nowhere to be found, Papoose. So yeah, I'm not sold on anything you're trying to present right now. And if you go back and watch that interview from a few years ago, the difference is night and day. You were glowing talking about Remy Ma. No shades hiding your face, no nervous energy, no stumbling over your words. You look confident, calm, and genuinely in love back then, which makes this version of you feel completely off. Because right now, you sound like someone stuck in a means to an end situation, like you're holding on for dear life trying to force something to work with Claressa because Remy Ma is done with you. And let's be real, this doesn't come across like a man who's happily in love. It feels like damage control, because most situations like this aren't built on real love in the first place. And I also find it interesting because it almost feels like you thought this whole situation with Claressa Shields could somehow revive your rap career, only for her to flip it and make it clear she's the main character in this story. Like she's the one controlling the spotlight, the narrative, and the attention, and she's not about to let you benefit to the point where you don't need her anymore. So now she's inserting herself into a marriage she was never part of, speaking on divorce proceedings she doesn't truly know about, all while this supposed virtual court situation sounds questionable at best. And when you start connecting that to what people like Geisha 305 have been saying about legal documents and cease and desist situations not even being received, it just makes the whole thing feel even more shaky. So again, if this is such a real and organic relationship, then why aren't the real questions being asked in these interviews? Like, are you still in love with Remy Ma? Why isn't the divorce finalized? What's actually happening behind the scenes? And is there still a chance y'all could get back together? Because those are the questions people actually want answers to, and nobody's pressing you on them. And let's talk about that too. Why is this divorce taking so long when we've seen plenty of celebrity couples wrap things up in 6 months or less? It just doesn't add up. Then on top of that, you sat through a whole 2-hour and 10-minute interview, but what are you even promoting right now? There's no new music making noise, and that diss track doesn't count because nobody's really listening to it. Everything you're listing off is from the past, and it leaves people wondering, what have you actually done lately that matters? And honestly, the whole situation just feels like noise, confusion, and a whole lot of nothing making sense. Even you don't sound like you believe what you're saying because you're all over the place. The math isn't adding up, and the timeline definitely isn't lining up for me.